This is Cardinal Village. It's a completely false village. This is made up from our fantasies. There's two reasons we call it Cardinal Village. The first reason being that all through it there are cardinals, and we ask the kids that come to visit to count the cardinals, give them something extra to do. It's also because it was Karen's grandmother's, or paternal grandmother's, maiden name was Cardinal. So they gave us the perfect excuse to call it Cardinal Village. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Cardinal came here over 100 years ago, and he was a garnet miner. And later at the end, we'll see where his mine shaft was and his original cabin. But at this end, as the town grew through the residential area and in through the commercial area, and then at this end, we have still the farm. And while we point out to the kids the turkeys that made it through Thanksgiving, and they were very lucky, and inside the barnyard and inside they're milking the cow. Kids do not know, back here there's the milk churn, the butter churn, and they have no idea what that is. But most of the adults know what the woman is hanging the washout. They remember hanging our washout up north and it would freeze, and I sure remember that.
She can zoom in, so I'm going to let her.
Okay, I'll get out of the way.
I'm missing the laundry. Where?
Back here. Oh, right here. Right here.
We'll get you the nickel tour first, and then you can
Go back and
pick up everything.
Great.
There's over 80 buildings and 200 people, and one of our focuses is as many as we could. The buildings all have little scenes in the buildings, but we want scenarios all through it. And for an example, down here, the kids have put skates on the dog, and the dog has slipped on the ice trying to wear the skates. This mill is not running because it's frozen here, and you can see they're ice fishing. We have the Hobo Camp here, and the kids don't know what hobos are. So, of course, we explain about homeless and how they use the old railroad cars, and that's where they're living in here.
The kids said, "Will that fire burn you?"
Yeah. We have the tree farm, and actually there's a couple cardinals up there, and there's the cutting their fresh Christmas trees. Didn't have plastic ones in those days. 1920s this is set. Then the street cleaner, they're not used to that, and they do know a one-man band. Some of the kids are familiar with a one-man band, and this is what I was talking about with the scenes. For example, there's the gumball machine, and the eggs are out here, and the scale, and you can see stuff on the shelves. Or in this cheese shop, there's cheeses in the window. Or in the toy store, there's the toys, and the pharmacy. That's what we like. I think it adds a lot more interest. There's some people that just will line these up on their house on a shelf or something. We focused on trying to have variety, having the streets go around, having the multi-levels, again, to add interest. One of our problems, we've had a couple problems this year. I started March 1st to build it this year. I knew it was going to take a while, and actually I have about 500 hours in it. But I designed this, and the train goes around, and it loops, it goes down underneath, and comes up in the back where you can't see. And it worked the first week fine, and we don't know why, but ever since the first week, when it hits, it goes underneath the tunnel, it flips off. So next year, I've got to cut that end off, next spring, cut that end off, and I'm going to change the radius. So that's a big disappointment this year. The lack of light there, and this was like, oh, that hurts my feelings.
So this is the first year it's been here?
Yes, what we did, we moved here in October of last year. In 2011, the last year we had a similar setup, not as quite as elaborate as this, and we submitted pictures. Now Limax brings these in from China, and they're sold at Lowe's or at Michael's, sells these houses. Limax had a contest, and we submitted 5 pictures to it, and we won #1 in the country. And what we won was $500 worth of merchandise. So guess what we did? We had to expand. So we didn't do it last year. We knew we wouldn't have any time, but we expanded it for this year. This is Church Street down in here, obviously. Now this is an old building. This is from 2001, and it was very nice originally, but it's worn out as things do. And there's a couple monks in there, and they would pull the thing, and the bell would chime, and the clock was working, but we've lost that. one of the little things like the grave diggers. They say we have all these little scenarios that we try to work in up at the school. I like, of course, there's the public library in the school, but I like the dog chasing the merry-go-round. But the number one favorite is the snow angel. That's people's number one favorite when they see that. And of course we have the row house, but then I love the stained glass window in the chapel.
What are they doing at the snowman?
They're actually building it, believe it or not, right? They're supposed to be packing it, and then of course the sled.
Okay.
Yep, the snow
Now,
angel's
these
good.
12-year-old Chinese
And
girls.
what is that, a kid rocking next to him?
This?
The sled.
No, that's on a sled.
That's,
Oh,
There are
a
actually
sled.
2 of them on a sled, right?
Okay, okay.
And now that's actually our second skating rink. They last about 3 years, and there's magnets and things, and they just die on us. So
okay.
yesterday we bought one for next year. But again, not even working. At least it gives interest. A skating rink, and there's the hot chocolate. And then as they come in, as they said, because of the gully, the commercial area grew up 2 different commercial areas, but it's connected by the bridge. And then in here, there's things like the bake shop, and the kids see this. And we'd say, well, what's he carrying? And they'd say, delivering. And they say, oh, a pizza, because that's what they're used to being delivered.
Right.
I love the high shoe in the shoe shop, in the window there.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's so cute what they've done. The dress here in the dress shop, or in the jewelry store, the leather works. Each one of these has these little scenarios up there at the ballroom, where they're dancing.
Dancing.
I have that one.
Oh, let's see.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
How many
Yes.
do you have?
Just a few,
Fine.
but I do have that
It's
one.
addicting. It's addicting.
It
Be
is.
Be
careful.
careful.
I ran out of room, so I haven't been able to display lately.
Well, I thought I had run out of room too. So you just buy a different vehicle and you can expand some more. This, do you know if you have this? This is the garden restaurant, and the tables are set up in there in the restaurant. This used to be closer to the front end, so it's harder for people to see now back in there. And of course, the city park with the luminaries, and the little girl back there has a sign. She has free kittens that she's giving away. This people at least can see now in the flower shop. You can see the plants out in the flower shop in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Our only Department 56, because I can't afford Department 56, is the city hall up there.
Uh-huh.
And then it comes across. This is actually in 2 separate sections, but they're pushed together right here. It's on wheels. I built this on 6 wheels under that and 4 wheels under this.
Oh, wow.
And up here is the ski slope, and actually that one's in the air. There's a wire holding him up. He's come off the slope there. He's coming down. And then the kids love this. This is from the Hogwarts Express from the Harry Potter movies. The kids like that. And there's the ski chalets and the fire tower. There's actually a ranger in there. There's a couple more cardinals there.
Yeah, I see a couple more of them.
We have, of course, the trolley going back and forth from take people from the waiting station back to the residential area.
Okay.
In fact, this one's going backwards by itself.
Yeah, we want to go backwards. That's when we go off the track. We always have had the running water, but now since we won some, this is one of the things we have. In the residential area, we point out things like the knife sharpener. Well, of course, kids have no idea what the knife sharpener or the Tin Man.
The Motown.
But they do know this. They know the man with the top hat and the brush, because from Mary Poppins, they know it's the chimney sweep.
Chimney sweep, yeah.
And in here they're building. You can lean in, and you can see they're building a snow fort or playing hopscotch. I love the girl chasing the cat up in the tree.
Wow, now that's cute.
I guess kids don't play hopscotch.
No. All they do is play.
Yep.
That's all they know.
This is the old mine shaft that the Mr. and Mrs. Cardinal used to dug originally, and this is where they lived originally. And now that you can see, the cabin is completely in disrepair. The bears have taken over, and online there's
Hole in the roof.
there's a whole new. But there's a great picture of this online. The person who shot it just got it just right. It's my favorite picture. This is cute, I think. The deer eating the carrot nose on the
Oh,
snowman.
wow. Detail.
When they left the cabin, they went to some
Then they built a really nice house. Well, of course, now they both passed on. So the house has fallen disrepair, and as you can see, there's flames in it, and there's the firemen putting out the fire.
Oh, wow.
That, again, was one of the ones that we, with our winnings that
Winnings
we
you
bought,
got.
but it was from their Halloween. So I broke off all of the skeletons and bats, and I broke all those off and just put 2 flickering lights
Just
in
a
it.
dirty old abandoned building.
Yeah,
It's
and
perfect for that.
it's perfect for over here. We always bring the kids back and show them Santa Claus, and then of course, like any time, and because I talk so much, evening comes and you can see how the trees light up in the evening and the street lights, and then we have stars in the sky, and then
Beautiful.
we have snow. That's cute. I don't know if you can get that. Probably you can get that. People have just the single shot cameras, don't get the snow.
Yeah, you can probably zoom in on it.
We can see how well, it's so much more impressive. We didn't see these trees before because we look right over them, but they stand out. Another thing we got when we won, we used to have a mishmash of streetlights, but now we can get the streetlights to all match. So it was nice.
Wonderful.
The mountain in the back, what that is, and the whole thing is built, first it's built on a wooden frame, and then there's styrofoam, and then we put plaster cloth over the styrofoam, which if you remember years ago, when we were children, we broke an arm or something, they would wrap it, and
Plaster.
what you do, I bought 100 pounds of this actually, and you cut it in strips, dip it in water, and then you can form it. And then
Oh, wow.
I'm obsessive about hiding, there's no wires, all the wires are hidden in this, and I do that, but Karen, she does all of the decorating. There's 5 coats of paint on the mountains. And then, of course, to do this type of stuff, and then we lay out all the buildings, get those just right. Well, first did the trains, which were working, and then, of course, then the buildings go on. And then she comes through and does all the people placement, the trees, the snow. Snow is very interesting. It's literally just like that. It's woodland scenic snow, and it's great to work with, but very pricey. When you have this much stuff, price becomes important. What we did, the whole thing started back in 2002. We were in Savannah, we were visiting, and Karen saw a tree there that somebody had built out of plywood, and they had teddy bears in it. And at that time, I had HO trains. So I said to her, well, what I'll do, I'll build you a tree, and I'm going to put some trains and a couple houses in it, which we did, and we had a historic home up at the center of town. We were on the tour that year. The next year, we expanded the tree. Actually, I put an N-scale train up in here, and it was in a tree festival at the Historical Society, and somebody bought the entire thing. Trains and houses and everything else. So what are you going to do? I mean, as a collector, you don't stop there. So then we started expanding our collection, and then 2004 up through 2011, it just kept growing. It was in the house, and it kept growing, the trains and the trolley, and it went around the corner. And so but then last year we moved, as I said, so we had to completely did away with the entire structure.
Right.
Threw that away, rebuilt completely. I was saying, if an electrician ever comes, don't tell me if you're an electrician, because I don't want to know. Because underneath, this is what it looks like. It's a mess. Because, well, there's 80 buildings, but all the lights, all the figures, anything that has to be powered to. Right. I have 48 outlets underneath there.
Wow.
Oh yeah, there's 12 per box, and I have 4 boxes, so I have to wire stuff together. And then of course the question comes, well, are you going to put this up next year? And the answer is no. It's going to stay up. What we'll do is we'll put drop cloths over it. That's what we used to do at the other house, and we'll just cover it with drop cloths, and so people. So that's the nickel tour. Now you're welcome to ask questions, take pictures. Karen, you're going to laugh at Karen and I, you'll understand this. I'll say, I didn't know we had that. Oh, do you remember this? We forget things ourselves. There is so much to see. We had a gentleman here who actually was the manager of the Winn-Dixie, and he brought his family, and he said, could you bring me a chair and a glass of wine? I want to pretend I live here. And the woman who was just leaving said, oh, you ought to have a way that, she said, miniaturize me so I can live in this. And
Ride around on the train.
Yeah, right around. If you've seen, a lot of the trains now have little cameras in the engine. And so as it goes around, you can then see it does the videos, but nah, I'm not going to get into that. Who's the artist?
Is by the artist Calibot. He's a French impressionist, and he did a painting called Rainy Day in Paris, and it comes from the Art Institute of Chicago. My mother-in-law had it hanging on her wall, so I saw that. I said, my goodness, that's a real painting.
I love it. The detail.
That they miniaturized the painting and put it in. They had the man carrying it out of the antiques and appraisals shop.